Hi everyone. I just wanted to make a video and talk about a subject that I think would be a popular subject or semi, and that's concerning the Jehovah's Witnesses, like how you're allowed to dress in grooming. Because I do remember from the time I was a witness, all the years I was a witness, it was I love this top. This is what I know fashion and style change each decade, and I just like to point out what I thought was ridiculous too. Well, first thing right off my head, the brothers having to wear suits all year round. I just think that's why they kept the air conditioning up higher in the summer months. Make the sisters freeze to death because they had to wear suits. I believe in the ministry they were allowed to sometimes at least wear short sleeve button-up shirts instead of a full suit. As I look around at modern day, like this day and age, man, I see a lot of stuff that like you would not be allowed to do if you were a witness, even nowadays. Like my hairstyle, half shaved off. Nope. These like very vibrant, bright rainbow colors that men and women are doing in their hair coloring, which I think is pretty cool. Nope. Couldn't do that as a witness. Makeup. Well, makeup had its limits even back when I was studying and became a witness. It was now I do remember when I was studying, sounds crazy now, but even one thing I remember is like darker makeup or darker nail polish, like black. Nope. I would have got spoken to. In fact, I once got in trouble because I painted my toes in alternating colors, like one pink, one blue, and on each of my feet. I actually got in trouble for that because I went out in service with them painted like that. It's like, wow. The sister I was working with, well, you have to look presentable to Jehovah, and in my head I'm like, oh, please. It was crazy. Like, come on. I'm sure some of you will remember who may have been born into the witnesses or in there for a really long time, that when I first started studying and attended the meetings that became a witness, I remember a few things. I know it's just the style and trends of those times too. I used to see a lot more sisters wearing suit jackets and blazers. The clothes tended to be a little more looser fitting, whatever the style was, not so much form fitting. It was still a time where the majority of the sisters, the skirts were like definitely past the knee. At that time, I was wearing, all my skirts were always like past the knee, like down covering the bottom half of my leg, like covering my calf. Like I didn't show my knees at all. It wasn't till like after 2010 that I started wearing shorter skirts, still like acceptable skirts, but shorter, that would show the knee. Remember when I was first studying, it seemed to be that every sister had to wear pantyhose or nylons, and I hated it. I hated them. To me, they don't give the leg a natural look at all. They look stupid. And I refused to buy a full set pair. I would only buy the knee highs. They're called knee highs, but the only drawback is the band that covers the top of half of your calf. Like, I had to make sure the skirt was long enough to cover it. And I only did it for a couple of years. I actually gave up doing it pretty quick. I never got into too much trouble for not wearing pantyhose when I finally stopped wearing them. But I remember too, like, dresses. I would wear dresses with like pretty like thicker material, like you couldn't see through them, like they were fine that way. But I would still get, oh, how come you're not wearing a slip with that? Although, talk about some of the older styles. There was, I used to really like the older, the women's dress shoes around those times with the chunkier heels, and I really liked those. I was never one to wear high heels or skinnier heels, or I never even wore those with the pointed end where the toes are. I never even wore those. I'm tall enough to begin with. I'm not super tall, but I'm like just above petite with my height. So I didn't have to really wear high heels, and I always, at conventions and assemblies, oh man, the shoes I would wear, like, I decided, you know, not worth getting a broken or sprained ankle just to wear a really nice pair of shoes, you know? Like, ridiculous. But yeah, even when I was attending the meetings though, man, I would dress a lot more casual, like appropriate enough to be dressy, but still like more of a casual look. Like, I had a couple turtleneck sweaters I would wear, and you don't see those. I don't think I've seen somebody wearing one of that for quite a while. A lot more knitted stuff at home, like hand knit stuff. I don't have the talent for making my own clothes, but wow. But I've heard a lot, like, cleavage. You cannot. I've heard sisters told, like, you're showing too much cleavage, and you got it like all the way up to here, and that's still too much cleavage. Give me a break. I mean, I'm not saying show all the cleavage you want, but I'm saying more like, even back then, like the shirts, I had it on me in a modest way, and to still be told that it's not modest enough. The point I'm trying to make is that there was, when I was first joined First a Witness, and I know going back in like the 20th century, they did stress modesty a lot more than they do now. I'd say after about 2010 and 2018, I was a little disappointed to see it. I would describe it as very much a loosening of, like, is not policing it a right phrase to put it, like not cracking down on it as much as they used to. Like the styles, even at conventions and assemblies. So I would see a lot more, started to see, even a little before 2010, I started to see a lot more like tighter, form-fitting dresses, more low-cut tops and dresses, showing more skin, patterns, like a lot like tighter fitting dresses, like stuff that if I had worn that when I was first studying, you would have gotten in trouble or spoken to. Like that would have been not acceptable. I'm just like, the difference, I know things change over time, but I think it's I've seen a bigger difference with the way people are dressed. Oh, and there was one thing that used to bother me, that actually did bother me. I had to quit perfumes. I used to like wearing perfumes as a witness, and I did for a couple of years, and I was like, I literally, guys, I literally just one spray here, that was it. I wasn't the type, you know, no, like just a couple, like that's it. And I started closer to 2010, and one of my friends as a witness, like she was allergic and very allergic to any scents. Like I couldn't even wear unscented deodorant if I went to her place. Like it had to be extreme way unscented, and it seemed like almost everybody, at least where I lived, ended up turning into that, like super sensitive to scents. And I'm like, I had to switch to body mists. I only wear body mists now. Did I just, you know what, I don't want to, I got sick of the complaining really fast, especially when I'm not dousing myself in it, but I just wear body mist now, and I haven't gotten complaints about my scents being too strong since I left the witnesses, so there's another thing that's improved. Makeup even. I remember, I think some of you have heard, like, if you tried to wear medium to darker lipstick, you would have gotten spoken to. I wasn't, I've always been the type that wore, like, I just wear minimal makeup. I don't wear a lot of makeup, and I don't go too dark or too heavy. The way I am right now is a perfect example. All I have on is eyeshadow, eyeliner, and lipstick. I'm pretty sure, but I think if there was a time where you would have gotten, if you tried to wear darker eyeshadow or like red lipstick, you would have gotten spoken to. Wow, that is crazy. How is it a bad thing if you wear red lipstick or even like red nail polish? Like, I don't get that. That was really crazy back then. Even today, I do remember hairstyles. I've never done anything too drastic with my hair. I've always, when I was a witness, my hair was always long. It was, it gradually shortened over the years. The shortest I had it was about there, but always longer and layered. Like, I did see styles I liked, but I knew I couldn't do it because you're a witness, and I think when I was in my 20s, I did color my hair. I colored it a dark auburn color, and I've had highlights in it over the years, but in the last few years, even before I left the witnesses, I decided to stop coloring and stop putting highlights in, so it's all natural. It is all natural, and it was, do you know what, the summer in the summer of 2018, before I disassociated. Oh, no wait, it was the next year after, actually. No, the next year. Within 6 months of leaving, I chopped all my hair off. And then grew it out to the style that I have it now. It was just... Yes, I always thought it was stupid that brothers could not have beards or facial hair. They let some of them could have mustaches. I remember an elder that had a mustache, but no, I always thought it was crazy reasoning why they weren't allowed to have beards or facial hair. See, another thing when I remember about the last couple years before I left, the skinny jeans were coming in for men and for women. I do remember thinking that, another, like, this is a little unreasonable. Like, I had bought a pair anyways and was wearing them anyways out in public. So I'm like, oh man, like, I don't think skinny jeans are... I don't think you should be worrying about brothers and sisters wearing skinny jeans. And one thing I've always noticed, at least for me personally, one thing I noticed like 99.9% of the time, and I'm guilty of it too, yeah, the sisters would only wear dresses and skirts at the meetings or out in service. Whenever I saw them anywhere else, they would always have on pants or be more casually dressed. Including me, but for me it was always more because of the shoes, and I was vocal about that. I always had to really shop around for decent dress shoes that I could actually wear and walk in without getting tons of blisters, you know, like, so I I always had boring shoes. Yeah, my dress shoes, they were like my skirts. They were almost always black. I never had, or the odd time, I think a couple times I had to get a really dark brown because they didn't have black. But for me it was, wasn't really to be boring, it was just because they're more versatile. And I could match them with a lot of different outfits. I just didn't see the practicality of having like a colored pair of shoes, but I only have one outfit that they can go with. I just... like, yeah. And I can even think of, even as far as piercings, when I had my first piercings when I became a witness, and I do remember when I got my second ones in as a witness, there were a few sisters that I could tell on their faces like they didn't think it was the wisest thing for me to do, but also I never got spoken to I never got in trouble for getting a second piercing like that. It was, you know, I think it's just another thing that I'm glad to be free of. I can dress how I want, have my hair how I want. I would agree, like, dressing appropriately does have its purpose and reasons behind it, but Watchtower takes those and really Watchtower takes those really out of, like, wow, really out of hand. Okay. Anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about for this video. As far as dressing and groomings, like the crazy Watchtower rules, I would love to hear in the comments any experience or stories that you guys might have about that. And other than that, I would just like and subscribe if you like, please. And everybody have a great weekend. We're close to summer. Get out there and enjoy the weather. Thank you. Bye.